Hello, welcome to this week's How's the Market, Pensacola. Boy, some of you guys took me up off of last week. I said, come out and see us during Mardi Gras, especially Saturday. Saturday is probably one of the biggest Mardi Gras parades I have ever seen since I have been in this crew, and that's been over a decade. So it's been a minute, but boy, that weather was just perfect. And no worries, because if we're in Pensacola, we're going to find a reason to have a good time. The partying's not going to stop because this weekend, Pensacon. It's Pensacola's Comic-Con, and Friday night is gallery night. For those of you who don't know what that is, every month we have one night where we shut down a street on Palafox. It's called Palafox Street, and we shut it down. All the bars open up on the street side. People just walk up and down. We have all kinds of stuff. Well, it's going to coincide with Pensacon this year. So I know like the Fish House is going to turn into Harry Potter World, and outside on the deck will turn into Star Wars. Atlas is going to turn into Star Trek. It's going to be a whole transformation this week. If you're flying in and out for the last 6 weeks, it's been Pensacola Intergalactic Airport. So we're definitely going to get our dork on this weekend. Some pretty cool people. I'm looking at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. A couple of those cast members are coming. I met Matt Ryan, the guy who plays Constantine. I met him over in New Orleans earlier this year. We chatted for a bit. I know he's going to be here as well, but there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not here to talk just about how great this city is and how much fun we had this past weekend and this upcoming weekend. Instead, we need to talk a little business. Let's talk real estate. Let's go.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth? All right, so I got my Captain America shirt here for Honor of Pensacon. Like I said, there's a lot of Marvel stuff coming, but let's talk real estate. I always start the show this way with this slide. If we have between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory, we have what's called a neutral market. Anything greater than 7 months is considered a buyer's market. Anything less than 6 months is considered a seller's market. What the slide does not say. Anything less than 3 months is considered a hyper seller's market. Anything greater than 9 is considered a hyper buyer's. Let's take a look at our 2 counties and see where we are this week. Looks like things have moved up some this is Santa Rosa County, which is nice. If you noticed last week, we were talking about this as well. Everything under 200 is a hyper sellers. I mean, 0.07 is at 150 to 199. I got 3 people that told me they've got a property there. They're thinking about selling it, and they want to chat with me in March. Of course, this was all while we were doing Mardi Gras, so I'm going to have to follow up with them and let them be reminded, because there may have been 1 or 12 drinks involved when they were talking to me. Anyways, 2 to 250 looks like it's 3 months. So that's going to be a seller's market, because it says hyper sellers is anything under 3 months. But to be honest, it's so close that I'm going to put everything under 400 a hyper seller's market. But look at this, the 4 to 450. Some people have come on here. The 4 to 450 is creeping up on 5 months inventory. So that's definitely a seller's market, but you are going to have to differentiate because there's not as much demand there. So if you're a seller, you're going to have to differentiate your property. If you're a buyer, you may be able to negotiate a little bit more. Okay? That's one of the reasons I do this whole show. 450 to 500, back down to a hyper seller's market. So under 3 months. 500 to 550 has actually dropped a little bit down to 3.1. So creeping up on a hyper seller's market. So we're almost at a hyper seller's market in Santa Rosa County for everything under 550, except for this little pocket right here. Then it's funny, 550 to 600 becomes a buyer's. Not a hyper buyers. That would be the 600 to 650. That's definitely a hyper buyers. 650 to 700 is the sellers. That's what makes it so weird. And that's why I try and do this show, because people ask me a question all the time. How's the market? That's why I named this show, How's the Market, Pensacola? It's because it really kind of depends. They think I'm trying to avoid the question by saying it depends. What price point are we talking about? Well, I heard that it's completely a seller's market. Well, it's not if we're talking about 6 to 650. Or in Santa Rosa County, if we're talking over 700 plus. If you're over 700, you got ultra luxury, it's a year's inventory. So you've got to differentiate. There's some things you got to do there. I'm looking at taking a listing right now. One of the things we're differentiating on is I'm doing a whole movie. The movie's got a nice feel-good touch story to it, and it's not really talking about the house, but the house is going to be integral part. So it's almost a background. That's a differentiation. All right, it's called a lifestyle video. And it's a lot of work. But boy, when you start talking about the price points that I was talking about, you have to differentiate. So that is Santa Rosa County this week. What does Escambia County look like? Escambia County looks like Pretty much same thing. Everything under $250,000 hyper sellers. Everything under $500,000 sellers. So you get that 350 or 300 to 350, you can negotiate some, but it's going to be a seller's. Okay? 450 to 500, if you notice, this is the list to sell ratio, so it starts to go down to 97, so you're getting 3% off. 3% off $450,000 is what? $13,000, $14,000. What this whole data does not show is concessions towards closing. Okay? Or repairs that needed to be done. Or repairs asked to be done prior to closing. I'll give you a good example. We just wrote an offer right now. We're going to be over list. We're over list price by $4,000, but we're asking for $6,000 worth of work to be done. So it's technically $2,000 under list, but the data on this will only show purchase price. So make sure you build in, I put in a lot of my social media. It's not just about price. There's also concessions, closing costs. There are terms, price terms. Some of those terms outweigh the price. I represent the buyer on that one deal. He was more than willing to go $4,000 over if he can get $6,000 worth of work. Because he thinks, once we get that, it's almost turnkey. So, anyways, 500 to 550 is considered it's right above a neutral. So you've skewed slightly towards the buyers. 550 to 600, straight up hyper buyers. Hyper buyers. And it's funny because now we look at 600 to 650 and it's almost a hyper sellers. There's your polar opposites. And if you're in that price point, you have to know how to market differently if you're a seller. And as a buyer, your buyer's agent needs to be able to know what market it is. And that changes from week to week. It really does. That's why I put this out here. It's funny because I started looking at some of the subscribers that I have, and I'm finding a lot of other agents in town are getting this show and subscribing it and watching it because they're trying to get educated on what the market is doing. And I'm fine with that. I'm not trying to hide this information. They can get this information somewhere too. I just think it's packaged a certain way that makes it easy for everybody. I'm doing it for the public. But if fellow agents want to get it, fantastic. Okay? There's no way I can handle all the real estate in this town. If there was, I would have already figured it out and I'd be doing it. I just can't. So, cool. Anyways, 650 and up hyper buyers market on both sides. All right, 650 to 700, 700 plus. That's in Escambia County. All right, that's the data for you. If you have not got over to the Facebook page, get over there. Facebook.com/Shane Willis, the Realtor. Also, send some pictures of Pensacola up. All right, I might put like a little hashtag or something in the notes that we start using just because I want to see some people if they've seen it. If they saw this video and they attended Pensacola, maybe we'll put just a random hashtag up that nobody else is using, and I'll just know that you saw it from here. And maybe nobody will put it up, and, well, I'll be depressed. Anyways, I'll put something up. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great week.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth.
On a mission.
Don't you just want the truth?